I thought I'd do a little video about puppy walks and how to get them right. Today I had a client booked in and it was going to be their puppy's first ever walk, and we opted to postpone. It was windy, it was cold, and it was raining. I'd taken my adult dogs on a walk and they were like, "Mum, this is really crap, we're not having a great time." And there's just no way I was prepared to risk a puppy having a bad experience on their first ever walk. In my experience, a lot of owners with the very best of intentions throw their puppies into the deep end when it comes to exposure to the outside world. Most puppies prior to their first walks have only been on the ground in the garden, around the home, maybe in someone else's home and the vets, and perhaps they've been carried outside. But being carried is very different to navigating the ground on your own, well, obviously with human attached to by a lead, wearing equipment and feeling things, feeling how the ground feels, and feeling the elements on your fur and skin a little bit more than if you're being carried. And I think this is often overlooked. So often owners will take their puppies on the school run, or they'll take them to the busy dog park, or they'll walk them from the front door down a street where there are people walking past and cars passing in close proximity. And this can be quite overwhelming for a lot of puppies. Indeed, you do get some really resilient, confident puppies. They are out there, but it's a bit of a gamble to take. I encourage owners to drive their puppies short distances to quiet locations, or if you're fortunate enough to live in a quiet area, to wait until a quiet time and take your puppy on really quiet routes. So if you live in a cul-de-sac, just take your time in that cul-de-sac. Or if you live near a cul-de-sac, veer down that cul-de-sac when your puppy gets there. So you're not just heading along a busy road as part of their first walks. So often puppies are overwhelmed, and we do have to remind ourselves that fear is an adaptive emotion. It's there to keep us alive. When puppies' brains are developing, they're looking out for the information that matters, and because fear is an adaptive emotion, these memories are quicker to be instilled and they're actually more resistant to extinction. That means that it's hard for us to get over fears, and it's hard for puppies to get over fears too. So it may sound like a lot of effort, but you may well be making your life more easy in the long run if you help your puppy learn to feel relaxed and confident and safe in the world by taking things gradually. Look at how your puppy is coping on their walk. So first, just let them feel the ground, feel the elements, listen to things, look at things from a distance. And if you look at your puppy and their tail's up and they've got a nice bouncy gait, then great, you can start to slowly ramp up the stimulus intensity. Maybe you might go somewhere they might see a few more people at a distance or a few more dogs at a distance. In the meantime, you can arrange walks with calm adult dogs so your puppy can learn to be around dogs. Or if you encounter dogs on your walks, you can say to the owner, "How is your dog with puppies?" Do remember, not all dogs like puppies because some don't want to be jumped on, and not all dogs like all dogs, and some dogs don't like dogs at all. So you don't want your puppy's first experience to be where they get an absolute bollocking from another dog for going up and saying hello. Don't be afraid to ask people how their dog is with puppies. And when it comes to interacting with people, don't let everybody overwhelm your puppy. So when you walk on the street, so often people are just like, "Oh, puppy." And puppies can get really overwhelmed by this. And what they can either learn is that people are annoying, they invade my space, I find them scary, or they can be like, "Oh, person." I associate seeing people with feeling really aroused and really excited. And actually that feeling of excitement and arousal can generalize to being out on walks altogether. And the same with fear. A lot of puppies start to not want to go on walks because they're just overwhelmed. And some puppies literally leave the front door and they're like, because they've been overstimulated. Slow down, gradually ramp up the stimulus intensity, but don't just continuously ramp it up. It's really good to have quiet walks with your puppy where they can just sniff and amble along without worrying about people and dogs or the traffic in the background. And also where they can connect with you as well. So Just be mindful of overstimulating puppies. I generally advise that owners don't walk puppies in the dark because headlights from cars are an additional intensity of stimulus that really we can do without right now. Don't walk puppies in the rain along the road. A lot of dogs actually don't like traffic in the rain because it sounds a lot more intense too. Take your time. Puppy walks aren't like, come on, let's go to the park, or we've got to get to school on time to drop off the kids. Puppy walks are about taking information in and processing it. Go at your puppy's pace. So if your puppy needs time, or if they're finding things a bit difficult, their tail's down, they're slowing down, their head is sort of tucked into their shoulders, and they're just generally ears are back, or they're frantically looking around, and even pulling intensely on the lead is a sign that your puppy might not be coping. Take a few steps back, slow things down, quieten your walks down, and just gradually build up that stimulus intensity as and when your puppy can cope. You don't want your puppy to be meeting loads of unfamiliar dogs on all of their walks all of the time. This can either overexcite them or it can overwhelm them. Arranging walks with nice, calm adult dogs is really the best socialization that any dog can get when it comes to other dogs too. So I hope you found that useful. It's not about wrapping puppies up in cotton wool. Life is stressful enough as it is. There are a lot of unpredictable things in life that we can't avoid. To build resilience in dogs, what we're recognizing is that all of these small stressful things are going to be present, and our puppies can gradually learn, actually, that's not to be worried about. I don't need to worry about that. And then when something a little bit more stressful comes along, they're more likely to cope. So slowly build up that resilience by taking your time, not overdoing it, and then you should have a dog in the long run that can cope with so much more. So it may sound like a lot of work, but trust me, it ain't as difficult as working with a dog who is fearful or overstimulated by the outside world.